Yeah, welcome to another episode of Mr. Z and Fifth with your host, Zacchaeus and the Fifth General. What up, man? What up?
It was good. Yeah, definitely a pleasure to be here, man, for sure.
All right, man.
Yeah,
We're going to try to get into a couple things, man. Spoiler alert for anybody who seen the movie The Harder They Fall on Netflix. You know, spoiler alert, because we might spoil some things. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, man.
you know, we're going to talk about the movie and other things as far as black Hollywood and, you know, certain genres of movies that we do and stuff like that. And also kind of give a perspective on maybe something that we probably should have seen in the movie that we didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
let me start it off right. Okay. So this movie been out like beginning of November, right? I'd probably say the beginning of November.
The beginning of November, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, right after Netflix miniseries with Colin in black and white. I think around the same time they got released. I don't know if you saw that. Did you see the Colin Kaepernick miniseries on Netflix?
Yeah, I was watching it. The miniseries. I thought it was very interesting, you know?
Yeah, I just got done watching
it was very interesting.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I just got done watching it yesterday. But yeah, so right now, let's talk about The Harder They Fall. This is, you know, basically coined as a black Western flick. You know what I'm saying? And there's been a few. I remember that movie years ago. I think it was with, you know, it was a Mario Van Peebles movie, where it had a notable black cat. I mean, it wasn't all black, but it had people that we knew. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Even Big Daddy Kane was in that movie. You know what I mean?
Oh yes, I remember that movie. I seen that film. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah,
Big Daddy King was in that. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'll get to that title in a second. But The Harder They Fall with Jonathan Majors, Idris Elba, Regina King, Zazie Beetz, Delroy Lindo, Lakeith Stanfield, just to name a few. You know what I'm saying? This in my opinion, I like the movie. I'm noticing a discussion on the internet. Some people are not happy with the movie at all. I can like something and not like something. So I'm kind of maybe where they're at in certain things.
Yeah.
They were saying based off the time of the movie and the characters, and even though that it's based off true characters, but the story is kind of made into something in order to bring these characters together. And so a lot of people are saying, hey, how do you do a movie like this where you don't really talk about slavery around this time?
Yeah.
The one thing that I appreciate about the movie was they wasn't saying a whole bunch of N-words, thank God, because you know that's the stereotype with a lot of black movies. Like they just can't, you know, it's got to be marked with the N-word all through the movie. That wasn't the situation here. You know, there was a situation in the movie where one of the white guys was going to call one of them, you know, the N-word, but that didn't happen. But the one thing it mentioned was, you know, it had the military in the flick, and it started kind of holding them accountable for a crime that they had committed in the past. And this is why you saw that they took out retribution on them to get Rufus Buck out of being transferred to another prison.
Right.
That's one part. Another part was where later on in the movie they went to a bank on the white side of town, and how that went. That didn't go too well. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people feel like, man, we like the movie, but why did it have to be black people killing each other? Now, the one thing I'm trying to understand is this. And maybe I'm just somebody who's not catching this right. I think the movie more so probably wanted to focus on a story as opposed to focusing on an era. But Zacchaeus, I'm gonna let you get your opinion on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what it is. They wanted to, you see, some people when they say based on a true story, they want to see all aspects of the film. because in this film, it was just, yes, it was a western, and most black people were, yeah, they were shooting up each other. You see, Jonathan Majors' character,
Mm-hmm.
not love, was shooting, and I thought that was I thought that was how he killed his family. That was a little boy. I thought
Rufus Buck, how Rufus Buck killed, yeah.
Rufus Buck shut up his that right there was very iffy and touchy, especially if you have a family. You're like, oh man, you really feel that in the beginning. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, I can see why some black folks didn't like it, because they see it was black people, black on black. But the film, it was a storyline. The storyline goes into the western, the storyline, which it did have black cowboys in real life.
Yeah, black cowboys existed, man.
Yeah,
The Buffalo Soldiers were cowboys. That's history.
I guess they expected to be. Yes, history. Black, yeah, Buffalo Soldiers. That's history, man. Black cowboys. That's history.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess they expected it to be like Django, where they
they probably did expect it to be like Django.
Yeah, because remember, this is taking place in the 1800s, early. I think it was before the Civil War time. Before the Civil War, and before 1865. So they expected to see a little bit more realistic with the slavery, realistic with white men showing racism against them. But I guess the story was geared towards Rufus and not love,
right? And black townships, because they were black townships around that time, and I don't know. I didn't really look at it as a I think this is what people need to understand. Well, not that they need to understand this, but I'm just giving my perspective, man. A lot of us didn't feel that way when we saw Black Panther, because there was, parts of the movie where they had to deal with tribal conflict, Now, there were a lot of people that said, yo, man, I ain't like the fact that, it was two brothers going at it. And I just want people to understand something. There's no such thing as black on black crime. It's just crime. And people do crime where they live. It didn't promote, in my opinion, gang life and the victories of it. It didn't promote that. It didn't. It actually showed you the consequences of it in that era.
Yeah.
Okay? So I didn't think it did that. I'm not going to defend the movie 100%. I'm just going to say, watch it for yourself and you get the idea. That's all. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. Whatever the next flick is going to be, I like action flicks. I do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whether it's no matter who's in it. I grew up watching martial arts flicks all the time, and I never said that's Chinese on Chinese crime. You know what I'm saying? Not once did I say that watching the Five Deadly Venoms or the Chinese Super Ninjas, aka the 5 Element Ninjas, or watching 36 Chambers. I never once said, yo, man, this is Chinese on Chinese crime.
Yeah, watching Bruce Lee, Chinese Connection, all that things. It's like
it's an action flick, man. I mean, some things are not that deep. Now, some things are deep. I get it.
Right.
Some things are. Some things can't be ignored. Some things have to be shown in a better way. I agree with that. But, you don't have to support the movie if you feel that it set us back. I think that's what people are concerned. Does it set us back? I don't know. Maybe there's something that I missed, but I don't think it set us back. This movie didn't promote stereotypes. Did it? Right. I mean, I don't know. Did it, Zachy? Did it promote stereotypes? I don't know.
No, because if they had a all white Western movie,
John Wayne movies for years.
Yeah, John Wayne movie, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, Clint Eastwood. These kind of movies, like way back in the days, they will never say, "Oh, white and white crime." They will never say.
They would
that.
never say that. No.
So, when they say, "Oh, it's black on black crime," and they portraying that on TV, relying.
Nah, let me tell you something. I'd rather watch this than Minister Society. You know what I'm saying? Now that's different. That there was stereotypes all in Minister Society.
You know what that movie that came out 1993?
I'm just making a point. I'm not saying that that's a bad movie. I'm just saying if you want to, I'm just saying if for my people out there, if you want an example of the glorification of crime, murder, and drugs and gang life into a movie, The Harder They Fall is not the movie you're looking for. You're if anything, you're thinking of maybe Boys in the Hood, although Boys in the Hood did have a message, okay?
Right.
But South Central, Menace to Society, right. Maybe those are the movies you might be thinking of. But not this one. Not this one. Go ahead, Zacchaeus. Anything more specific about the movie that you like?
Well, yeah, this is a film that it was supposed to be action packed. It's supposed to be a Western, but it's just it's just an all black cast.
Right.
And the all black cast, and and what they're trying to portray with this movie is this. They're saying that we have a story to tell too. It's not just our white counterparts, but black counterparts have a story to tell as well. Story to tell too.
Right. They were black. They were black. Right. They were black sheriffs back in the day. There were black, bankers and all that back in the day, and they tried to show it. And maybe in a sequel, they could probably show more of a different story, complete story, or whatever it is that people are looking for. And the next one. Now, I do understand this conversation. Now, people have looked at the pictures of the people of the past and looked at the actors they had play it. Now, some people are saying like, yo, this person was way too light-skinned to be this person, or this person was too dark-skinned to be that person. I won't fight nobody's opinion on that. I won't.
Yeah.
Because I had an issue with Cynthia Erivo playing Harriet Tubman in the Harriet Tubman movie, not because she was Nigerian, but the fact that in the past she had said disrespectful things about Black American culture. You don't get to do that and play our ancestor like that. You don't get to do that. No different from me talking crazy about Jamaican culture and then saying I want to play Marcus Garvey or Bob Marley. Can't do that. So
Jamaican, yeah.
I'm just giving an example. If there was a brother out there who disrespected South Africans and then wanted to play Nelson Mandela, they wouldn't go for that. And I don't know how many people was okay with Idris Elba playing Nelson Mandela.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, maybe some people had a problem with that. I thought he did a good job. And before that, Morgan Freeman played Mandela, and he not African. But, I'm just saying.
Right.
My thing is, if you disrespect the culture, you shouldn't be allowed to now play a biopic of someone in that culture. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. And I got a problem with brothers and sisters from Africa disrespecting Black people over here, and then now want to play our characters. If you fall in that circle, I have an issue with that. Idris is from Africa, but I've never seen Idris say stuff about you Black people here, y'all. I don't know about y'all, man. I ain't never heard Idris do that. If he has, I would like somebody to help me out and send that info to me, But as far as I'm concerned, Idris has been very respectful of black culture in America. I mean, he been living in this country for years. He been dating black. I think the woman he's with, the woman that he's with right now, is a black American. His wife, I don't think she's from the Congo or Ghana or wherever he's from, Sierra Leone, originally, and then
Ivory Coast,
and then grew up in England. I know the story about Idris. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think Idris is with right now a black woman whose lineage connects to the descendants of slaves in America.
Right.
I mean, he at least has that respect. And then before that, he did a Cayman show. That's another conversation. But I like to see more Western. I wouldn't mind seeing more of this, honestly. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind.
But yeah, I wouldn't mind. I always say that you see, back then, even when I was growing up back then, they never used to play full all class black country western,
Yeah.
Country western. But I guess too, in a way, they tell a story.
The Mario Van Peebles movie was called Posse.
Oh yes, I remember Posse. Yes, I seen that movie. Big Daddy Kane. Few other headliners on that.
Yeah, Stephen Baldwin. Sally Richardson. Blair Underwood. Melvin, his father. Pam Grier. Isaac Hayes. You know what I'm saying? Tiny Lester.
Remember, yeah.
So it was a mixed cast, but mostly black that we can name. You know what I mean? But that was a Western. That was a Western. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a Western. Yeah.
So I don't mind. I don't mind. Like I said, as long as it doesn't make us look ignorant and coonish. I don't like that. If it does that, I don't like it. But I have no issue.
Right.
Anyway, go ahead. I feel like I don't want to be repeating myself. But go ahead, Zacchaeus. Yeah.
Yeah, but this film portrayed had a lot of action in it, and it was a good storyline.
Right.
But it just portrayed a Western.
Yeah.
Meaning that people can just, if you want to watch it, you can watch it. But sometimes when people write films, they don't think about the event everywhere. They just focus on the storyline.
Yes.
One time, I think I written a book like that where I focus on the main characters, but I also painted a picture of the realistic areas. So sometimes if the story can be fictional, but yet you put areas that really exist. Like what I put in my book, areas that really exist, and
right.
But people have to understand when somebody writes a story, it usually fixates on the main plot of the story, meaning that it didn't go into slavery, it didn't go into what you call it,
Jim Crow,
right? No, it didn't go into Jim Crow. It didn't go into the cooks. It didn't go into a lot of things, No. It's just the main particular story. And
I mean, we do have movies for that. I mean, if we're talking that era, Jim Crow, or at least close to that era, then we have movies like the Deacons of Defense, the movie about the Deacons of Defense, how they took on the Ku Klux Klan. I mean, something like that was not going to be in The Harder They Fall. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and I get it, sometimes, we're so connected to black pain that when we see movies that involve us of a certain time period, we automatically say, whoa, you're missing something.
Right. Yeah, because we're trained.
But I want people to be very careful what they ask for, because Will Smith does have a movie in the works where he plays a freed slave or a runaway slave or whatever the heck he's doing. And Lord, please don't let that look like 12 Years a Slave. But if it does, black people, just be prepared to be upset about that movie too.
Man, 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying if this movie ends up looking like 12 Years a Slave, this Will Smith movie, then that's just gonna be. I just want black people to prepare themselves because there's definitely a difference between 12 Years a Slave and Birth of a Nation, Nat Turner.
Right.
Definitely a difference between them two. You know what I'm saying?
Big time. Yeah.
And then Django, I mean, Django was just a minstrel of things in that movie because, I mean, there was some things that made sense and some things that didn't make sense at all. And that was a Tarantino flick, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
But anyway, from an acting standpoint, I felt like Jonathan Majors and Idris and Regina, you know, they did a good job. I think Dion Cole did a really good job of his character. I didn't even know he was in the movie.
Right.
You know, he was the sheriff. He did a really good job in the movie because if anybody knows anything about Dion Cole, he's naturally a comedian. And yes, for years he's been on Blackish. But the character that he played, he had more of a commanding role and a commanding character in this movie. And it really forced Dion to act. Like, Dion had to really act.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I also thought the brother Lakeith Stanfield, he did a good job. He's a good actor. He's very talented.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Not surprised at all. You know, Jonathan Majors, another talented guy. You're going to see a lot more from him. He has big plans for his career, you know.
Yeah, see?
I wonder something, man. If Chadwick Boseman was still here today, you think he would have been casted for that film?
I think so. I think Chadwick Boseman.
He would have did a great job too.
Yeah, you know, I thought he's gone too soon, you know, and he still has some. He still was in the works.
Yeah. Yeah, technical difficulty, but we back. Yeah, so
yeah, man.
Like I said, the movie, go watch it. Now we was also before we move on to the Colin series, anything else you want to talk about?
Right. No, this film is no. Basically, this film was I gave it 3.5 stars.
Okay.
It was good. It was definitely a good watch. You know.
3.5 out of 5, right?
Out of 5. Yes.
Okay. Just want to let people know what you mean by that. All right, I'd probably give it the same rating. But yeah, so let's move on. Another Netflix thing. Recently in this month, Colin in Black and White. Now, more up to a modern time. This is probably the first time in years that we've heard directly from Colin as far as his perspective and his upbringing and how he feels now. But he didn't talk about kneeling at all in the series. He didn't really touch on that like that. He just talked about the NFL. He talked about how he grew up, you know, with his adopted parents and just how he was treated. And we get to see kind of a little look into his life. You know what I'm saying? Before college.
Mm-hmm.
What was your takeaway of the film? He narrated the series. Pretty much every episode, there's a narration spots where he gets to talk and everything.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the show overall, man? What's your takeaway from it?
I like the film fact that he go into his life. He goes into his life and he just facing different scenarios in his life, different experiences and what he faces as a youth. That's what kind of captivated me with the film. This is kind of captivating, talking about his youth, his youthful days, experience. You know,
yeah.
And it was a series. I mean, these series is something that you can watch and it's not gonna hurt your head. It's not gonna hurt your head, but it's good. You know, it's not too complicated, but it's Colin Kaepernick did a great job with this one. You know, I think so, and I think he narrated kind of remind me of the his narration kind of remind me of the Wonder Years. You know, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
because the way how he narrates the whole throughout the whole series is cool, you know.
Yeah.
It's throughout the whole series, so more it makes you connect with him
Yeah.
because he goes through his life, he go through life experience. It wasn't always easy, you know, for him, but he went through it, you know. And this is something that's on Netflix, and if you want to go watch it, you could go watch it too. You
Yeah.
know, very good film. Yeah, man.
So, we see what Colin has been through. I honestly think that his return to the NFL at this point is pointless. And I know he did a tryout about a year ago. Maybe a year, 2 years ago. I think it was before COVID.
He was supposed to do a tryout, right?
Yeah, he tried out. He did a little try. He did like a little workout at a high school somewhere South Atlanta. And you remember there was footage of that. You know what I'm saying? He was basically showing how good of shape he's kept himself in, how good his arm strength still is to this day, and stuff like that. And so we last seen him, before this documentary biopic type of series. We last seen him with that tryout. You know what I'm saying? Now, workout. I don't want to call it a tryout. I'll just call it a workout. And so that happened, right? Now we have this. We're able to kind of get a light on just basically what he kind of is thinking about currently. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't so much of that. Like I said, it mostly just kind of told his life, and how he didn't realize how black he was. Like, he didn't realize, like, why am I getting this treatment? Why am I being treated like this? Why am I being treated like that? And it showed the level of discrimination that he went through, even though he didn't know what was going on, having white parents, and how these white parents that adopted him didn't teach him nothing. You know what I'm saying? They didn't teach him nothing as far as from a social standpoint. He was talented to be how he was in athletics. And it was very interesting where they focused on the fact that when he was playing baseball and he braided his hair because he wanted to look like Allen Iverson. You know what I'm saying? And how when they told him to get rid of his braids, that, his mother said, you need to get rid of it. She was like, why? Because you look like a thug. And he was like, what's a thug? And I noticed throughout the show, there were moments where Colin was able to tell some history. Remember that? I thought those were pretty good. When he talked about how the black baseball player, they wanted to give him a deal, but they said that he had to pass as white. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, he told some things I never knew. You know what I'm saying? And I like how he gave reference to a lot of great black men and women. That man talked about I think he mentioned Fannie Lou Hamer. He mentioned
Fannie Lou Hamer.
He mentioned Huey P. Newton, Bobby Seale, Steve Biko, Stokely Carmichael. He mentioned he mentioned some people when he was talking about, hey, well, black people also are this. Black people, it's not just what you think it is. You know what I'm saying? What about these type of people? So, I thought it was interesting. The whole flick, man, he had his afro. You know what I'm saying? No, that was dope. That was dope because that's a this is how we are able, he's identified by his hair as well. He is, very bold statement. You know what I mean? I appreciate his contribution to what he was able to say in that documentary. I mean, in that miniseries. I would have liked a chapter 2 of that, and hopefully this does happen. I would like to tell more of his story up until this point. I would love it. You know what I'm saying?
And the series still continues, so it's a must watch.
Yeah,
the series is a must watch, and I enjoying some aspects of the film too.
Yeah, Yeah,
one or two. Yeah.
I know it talked about his early life, but I would like a chapter 2 of that to tell more of his life coming into college, into the pros, because I want to know what goes through Colin's mind when he gets older, when he starts to obtain more knowledge of self, because that movie did not show, that series didn't show, he didn't have knowledge of self like that back when he was growing up.
No, he didn't.
He got it somehow, and I would like to see how he obtained that. I would like to see who taught him. Did he teach himself? What events took place that made him say, you know what, I'm going to dig into my history? What in police brutality did he see that make him say, you know what, nah, this ain't right? You know what I mean? I'm curious, and I thought this series was going to go that far, honestly.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. What made him curious? See, you know, the footage of police, the news and footage of police brutality that he sees, the others experience, you know, and he got to say, listen, getting tired of it. They're not gonna come and push us around and bully us, cause all because we got a little change in our pocket. You know, we got to. You know, it's not gonna go down that way, you know.
Right.
But I definitely know why Colin Kaepernick decided to take, you know, Colin Kaepernick decided to put out a series, you know, and I applaud him for that too. I really, because that's something different. Here's it. You got a brother that you know, got booted out the NFL, trying to make a comeback and realize he turned his negative into positive and put out something like this. A film, a mini-series.
Right.
Yeah, very interesting, you know. Yeah.
Right. Well, we shall see what's next for any future storytellings of Colin. Maybe you know what? I realized something. This could be a prequel to a movie, because I thought I heard that they were doing a movie on Colin, and maybe this is not what it was. This was like kind of like a preview to it. Maybe there will be a further story about Colin and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of people got mad at him because of when in the first episode he attributed the how NFL basically look at the what do they call that? They do like the little workouts before the draft day.
Right.
The combine, that's what it is, the NFL combine. And they basically check how fast you run, how your build is, how you run, how hard you hit. And I noticed that he metaphorically tied that to the auction block for slavery.
Wow.
You noticed that, right? So a lot of people got very angry at that. You know, I didn't.
Yeah.
Because I understand what he's trying to tell. But people on the other side had an issue with that. They was like, yo, you kneeled and all that. And you know, people, you know how people were about Colin. Oh, you kneeled, you a crybaby, you this, that, and the third. And now you want to talk about, you tried to get back into the NFL. And now you want to talk about how the combine was like slavery, you know, they can't take that.
Right. See?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, Colin Kaepernick is the one of a kind, man. I mean,
yeah.
To put out a miniseries, I'm still watching the miniseries. Still watching it, and I think it's a pretty good series. At least two episodes I watched. I think it's very good, you know.
Oh, okay. Dang, I didn't realize you only saw 2 episodes. All right, my bad. I didn't talk about the whole. That's all right. Yeah. You'll be able to see what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That good, man. That good. Yeah, man.
Right, man. Anything else you want to talk about before we head up out of here?
Oh man, watch. So watch The Harder They Fall.
Yeah.
You know when I seen that film, I thought it was. I said, wait a minute, why are they backing off for the 1970 film The Harder They Come with Jimmy Cliff?
Okay, well, hey, speak more about that, because I don't know nothing about that movie. Go ahead.
Well, Jimmy. Well, that was Jamaica. One of Jamaica's biggest films ever. I think the Harder They Fall came out 1973.
Mm-hmm.
The Harder They Fall, Jamaica's biggest film in 1973. Jimmy Cliff was he was an artist in his own right. You know, he's the one that sang, "I can see clearly now, the rain is gone." You know, but he was an artist that in the film he was an artist. He portrayed being an artist too, but he got into crime.
Oh Lord, technical difficulties. I'm sorry, Zacchaeus. Go back into what you were saying about the harder they come.
Yeah, you know, just Jimmy Cliff was the star in that film, the 1973 film.
All right, we're gonna end it right here. Due to technical difficulties, I'm not gonna put the audience through this any longer. This is what happens when you when you try to put art out there, man. Things just happen, man. You know, make sure you got your budget right on your equipment, man. Don't make sure you got everything going right, man. Shout outs to those who podcast and are able to maintain this as long as we have or longer, you know. So you can holler at Zacchaeus on Zacchaeus B73 on Instagram, on Twitter, Wayne Backus 2, on Facebook, Zacchaeus. Holler at me at the Fifth General on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. All right. See y'all next time on an episode of Mrs. Z and Fifth. Peace.